Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. All right, so audience members, you are in for such a special treat. We have Mina Grace in the house. Welcome, Mina.
Hi, Jenny. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Truth Talk audience members, we've literally been trying to record this episode for the last 50 minutes because we had so much fun chatting. If you are excited about it, we could even maybe give some of like our chit chat in another future episode, like share some of it, not the juicy stuff, but like some of the funny stuff we talk about. Okay, so Mina, listen, before we get started, my baby is destroying my studio. Before we get started into the actual talking, I want to make sure, right, that the audience knows that your gift today is a sneak peek preview of your The Graves Disease Chef's International Recipe Cookbook. How to master simple to gourmet plant-based recipes. Those things are tasty, folks.
I have it right here. There's the cookbook.
It is
But
beautiful. Yeah, so you want to go to the link below in the description to access that, okay? And if you're riding the car and listening to this on one of those audio podcast platforms, Mina, what is your website so that
oh
they can go
yes.
there too?
Okay, it's www.thegravesdiseasechef.com.
Beautiful. Now remember, folks, Graves' disease is spelled Graves
Yes.
Disease, and chef is Chief.
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you.
Chef. Sorry, Chef.
Oh, I misspelled it.
Yeah.
Chef
Yes.
with an
Yes. So
S at the end.
the Graves Disease Chef.com. No
Perfect.
S. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so we want to make sure you go to the right one. All right,
Yeah.
let's give them an idea of why. Why are you plant-based, Mina?
Okay, let's back up the story a little bit. I actually was diagnosed with Graves' disease back in 2015. And for the audience, if you don't know what Graves' disease is, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. It is an autoimmune disease, and what basically happens to you is your immune system, which is supposed to protect you from illnesses and viruses, starts to go south for underlying issues, right? And when it does that, your thyroid thinks it's under attack because your immune system isn't protecting you. So your thyroid responds by overproducing the thyroid hormone. And you end up getting diagnosed with Graves' disease. And it is not a fun condition. For me, I ended up being textbook Graves' disease, and I had 12 of the symptoms. Yeah. So let me run through the symptoms real quick so everybody knows what goes on with Graves' disease. You end up losing a ton of hair. So hair loss is excessive. You're losing rapidly weight loss. So you're having weight loss, but it's unhealthy. And here's an example. I actually lost almost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. That's horrific. And you end up experiencing depression, you have panic attacks, heart palpitations, anxiety, high blood pressure spikes, I always said heart palpitation, insomnia. So you're not sleeping, you're not eating. And the worst part of all, Jenny, is all of these symptoms that I'm just rattling off are happening at the same time because your hormone has gone wackadoo. And so what ended up happening is I got diagnosed, and I actually asked my endocrinologist because I got sent to a specialist because I was in bad shape. I couldn't get out of bed for over a month. Like I could not move. It was that debilitating. So when I finally was able to see the doctor, I asked her if there was anything that I could do to get better naturally. And she said, no, unfortunately, there's really nothing you can do. You have two options. We can either cut out your thyroid. Yes, so remove your thyroid, so you remove the Graves' disease, or undergo radiation treatments to shrink your thyroid. And because I was in such bad shape, she said, we need to get you stabilized. And they did that through medication. And as soon as I would be stabilized, then they would cut out my thyroid. And I said, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I don't want to lose my thyroid. And part of the other reason is because my older sister opted for surgery. She's older than me. She ended up, yes, I don't know if I ever told you that. Okay, so my older sister had Graves' disease. That's why I was familiar with it. But she opted for traditional Western medicine, had her thyroid taken out. She was diagnosed 5 years before I was. And when that happened, fast forward 15 years later, my sister is still very, very sick all the time because they can't get it right. So with me, when I asked my doctor, is there anything I can do? And she said, well, no, there's really nothing you can do. Those are your options. And so my follow-up question was, does anyone ever get better? Like, does anyone ever go into remission? And she said, it happens, but it's rare. And what usually happens is when the patient goes into remission, they immediately fall out because they can't sustain it. So here's what I heard. I heard, yes, it's possible. I didn't hear no, there's nothing you can do, even though she was trying to tell me that. So in answer to your question, that was my very long answer, Jenny, sorry. But I decided it was time to figure it out. So I went home, got onto Dr. Google and typed in, is there any natural way to get better? And nothing came up. There was nothing. Absolutely zero, zilch, not a nothing. So I thought, okay, I got to figure this out. And I don't want to roll on here, but I don't know if I should tell you the onion story. Should I tell you the onion? Do you know my onion story? Because this will answer the question why I ended up going plant-based officially. Okay. So here's what happened. A year had passed. I was still sick. I was still on medication. I was having an allergic reaction to one of the medications. There's only two. So they put me on a different option, which is actually really, really bad for your liver. They both are. Unfortunately, when you're on thyroid medication, one of the side effects is it really beats up your liver. So this is what happens. A year goes by and I'm in the kitchen and they have stabilized me, but my numbers are still crappy. I'm in the kitchen with my then 18-year-old son. He was 18 at the time. This is 2016. He's vegan. And he's watching me in the kitchen trying to chop an onion. And it's miserable. I'm so weak. I'm having trouble just chopping an onion. And he looks at me and he's just shaking his head at me. And I'm like, what? What? What are you doing that for? And am I allowed to swear on the podcast or no swearing?
Um,
I'll do bleep. I'll do bleep. Okay. So he says, Mama, when you stop eating bleep, you'll stop feeling like bleep. And I was so offended. I thought, first of all, potty mouth, don't be swearing. And number two, Mama eats so healthy. Have you looked in our fridge? Look at our pantry, look at our fridge. All of our stuff is organic. Everything we eat is organic. Everything we eat is so healthy. And how dare, I was so offended. Yeah, that's right. He had potty mouth. And it didn't move the dial for him at all. He just goes, like I said, Mama, when you stop eating bleep, you'll stop feeling like bleep. And I thought, I'm out of here. You finish in the kitchen. I'm done. I'm going upstairs. I was so offended. So I went upstairs and I go, okay, you know, he said that out of love. Okay. And I really, I had to put my ego aside because I thought, he's right. He's right. Am I really doing everything to find wellness? I thought I was by eating, I was still carnivore. So everything we were choosing was organic beef, organic chicken, and wild caught seafood. I was doing all that, but it wasn't doing anything for me. So, Jenny, it was that evening that I decided, you know what? What have I got to lose? I have nothing to lose by trying this different plant-based thing that people talk about. And I have everything to gain if it works. And so we were at dinner, the whole family was there, all the kids were home, and the four boys. And I said, okay, mama's going to do something crazy. I'm listening to Marco. And I decided I'm going vegetarian. So they're like, what? What? Are you really? And they're like, okay, mama, well, we're here to support you, if you think that that's best. And so it was April 1st, 2016, that I ended up embracing a plant-based lifestyle. I started off as vegetarian. I went back and forth through the years of being vegan, but almost a year into going plant-based, and I was seeing the doctor every 3 months, and she said, your numbers are moving. You're actually getting better, and your labs are normalizing. What are you doing? And I said, I am vegetarian. And straight up, right away, right out of her mouth, she goes, nope, that's got nothing to do with it. Diet has nothing to do with it. Okay, well, that's the only thing I changed. So what do you attribute it to? I asked. And she goes, I don't know, but it's not diet.
Well, they don't know, Mina. They don't fully know. They don't fully know. Oftentimes they go back and they look at how much education, and this is no, I'm not saying doctors aren't doing their best and aren't
No, of course not.
dietitians. It's just they're even now realizing that their
Yes.
learning paradigms have not been upgraded to
Oh,
reflect current knowledge. And they're trying, there are doctors out there trying to catch up,
yes,
right? And
yes,
I think
yes.
it's amazing that you've held true to that. I mean, honestly, so listen, audience, I want to give you a true confessions. Mina's, you're going to be very excited about this. So listen, Mina has this very amazing master class that you should
Oh,
purchase on her website. And in it, and even other times we've had conversations. So listen, I am a breast cancer survivor, and I
yes.
discovered in listening to my body that I cannot have any dairy, no whey products, nothing. Did you know regular Pedialyte has whey in it? So I had to get sugar-free Pedialyte to hydrate. So be aware of that, folks. So I was like, okay, well, I'm vegan, or at least, using very healthy methods of cooking. And
Yes.
then Mina dropped the bomb about how there's only, and you're going to tell us about this when I'm done telling the story. You shouldn't be using any seed oils because, and she's going to tell you, I'm not going to pop the secret. However, we have adopted it, Mina. We don't use any more of the sunflower oil that we used to use. Old, it's gone. So now we only cook with, what are the three oils we should be using, Mina?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, the only three oils we should be cooking with. So please clear your pantries. I like, if there's anything you get out of our podcast today, please let this be one of them. The only three oils you should be cooking with is, and are actually, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. Regenerative, if you can get that, for coconut oil. And the reason is, when all the other oils that I did not mention, and I'll mention the three again, but all the other oils I did not mention, what happens is they have to produce these oils at such high levels of heat that it creates hexane. Okay. Hexane is not bioavailable. So all the other oils have hexane in them because they try to take every last drip out of the seed or the nut, or I don't even know where a canola comes from, but all of it. Okay. It's so bad for you. So what you are eating when you're cooking with it, and it's worse when you actually heat it up, you're releasing the hexane. Hexane is toxic. And when something's not bioavailable, it means your body cannot break it down. So your body holds on to it and stores it as a toxin. So please, please, I cannot stress this enough. Please only use, whether it's salad oil or whether you're cooking with it, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil. That's it.
So to clarify, if you're allergic to all three, don't cook with oil.
Yes, correct.
Be oil free. My husband,
Yes.
for
Yes.
his, he is plant based because his whole family has heart disease. My husband is the most fit person you could ever meet. He's a triathlete trainer, even when he's not triathleting. And he still swims and runs. He bikes now in a stationary like bike in the garage because I won't let him out because of his accident 2 years ago.
Oh,
However, he works out like crazy. And right? Because his genetics mean that
yes.
anytime he has oil of any kind, actually, we've discovered all of his bad levels start to rise.
Oh,
And
no.
he's a full-on vegan, folks. No
Yes,
meat,
yes.
nothing, no dairy. He's now become gluten-free because he's gluten intolerant now because our
Yeah,
son has
same.
celiac. So we
Yeah.
stopped eating gluten. Actually, you did say, gluten in this country. You can have gluten in other countries, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
clarification. So
Yes.
he won't have any oils, and if he wants to cook something, he just adds in like mushroom broth, and
Yes.
that's his oil. So, folks, this is I'm so glad, right, that Mina, you're so knowledgeable about this because this is stuff I did not know, and I've heard her speak on it a couple of times. I will be honest. Hey, Kat, I'm doing an interview. Excuse me. So the first time I heard of it, and True Talk, Mina knows this because we know each other's faces. I was like, I did polite face. You okay? I'm not giving up my sunflower oil. I've given up every other kind of oil. I gave up like milk chocolate. Like I'm done with that. I can't have regular sugar because I use stevia. What do you mean I give up my oil? And as I heard it, my body was saying, "Are you listening to me? No, we don't like this in us." And I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do it." And the few times I cook with olive oil, my stomach felt better.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, our bodies talk to us. We already know that. And it tells us, because I can tell you it is challenging to be, like, full disclosure, to go out to dine.
Yeah.
And it's because I know, because we have a restaurant, I know majority of restaurants cook with canola oil because it's cheap. And we're talking like high-end places even.
Yeah.
So I'll give everybody a tip when you're dining out. All right. You can't really tell them to cook your food in certain oils because they they might, but if you let them know you are intolerant to other oils, so if they could please bring you, say, your salad oil, if they could please bring you balsamic vinegar and extra virgin olive oil and use that, please. It'll protect your body more because you do not want to be storing that as a toxin.
No, you
Yeah.
don't. And
Yeah.
and here's the thing, folks, because I've spoken about it in the past, and I want to reiterate this, right? Toxins may not be deadly to you in the beginning as they build up, the toxicity builds.
Yes.
Similar
Yes.
to if you're holding on to the toxins of trauma and not
Yes.
releasing emotions, there's now scientific
Yes.
backed
This is
proof
true.
that it poisons your body. You know that whole
Yes.
saying, what is it like? Not forgiving someone is like poisoning yourself. No, wait,
Yes.
what is that saying um, when you don't forgive someone, it's like you're poisoning yourself instead
Yeah.
of um, it, when you don't forgive someone who's hurt you,
Yes.
okay, it's
Yeah.
like you're poisoning yourself, expecting them
Yes.
to give you an explanation for why they hurt you.
Yes.
That's basically all of this.
What's
So
happening.
yeah,
Hmm.
me and Anna, we're like elders in training, so we're just not going to hold
Yeah.
back. We're not going to hold back
No,
because
right?
what is there, with the 2025 is this shift. We have the lineup of all of the planets literally talking about
Yes.
how these planets are drawing a line in the sand around the earth. Like, are
Yeah.
you ready to shift?
Yes. This is that year. It is. I agree with you completely. Yeah, my words this year, my superpower words are surrender and truth,
Yeah,
you
certain
know?
truth. Yep.
Yep. Because that is what we need to do to keep moving forward. It's going to be a glorious year. I love it. I love that I'm doing this with you at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, so I just have to say this. I'm in remission, okay? Going plant-based put me in remission. The doctor almost fell out of her chair. She couldn't believe it when she looked at
How
my
many
record.
years now?
It has been almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in April.
That's huge. You
Yeah,
said you were told it's very hard, the percentages of people
yes,
actually going into remission and staying, isn't it like,
yes.
what is it, like less than 1%?
Oh, yeah, it's very, very low. And we're talking of a population, you already know this because we talked about it earlier. There are, get this, globally, there are at least 160 million people that have Graves' disease. You don't normally hear about it. People they don't hear about this. So I'm on this mission to keep sharing about Graves' disease and what it is, because not only is that 160 billion, it's up to 230 million, and so many more millions are undiagnosed. In the US alone, um, 2 million people get diagnosed with Graves' disease every year.
Well, there's a
So,
lot of celebrities with it. And
yes,
folks,
yes,
here's the thing, ready? You may be like, I'm never gonna get Graves' disease. It doesn't run in my family.
they
Hello.
go.
If you
Tell them.
have an autoimmune disease,
Yes,
my son
yes,
has type 1.
yes,
He
he
is at
does.
risk for Graves' disease. If
Yeah,
you have rheumatoid arthritis,
yes,
you
you're,
are at risk. What were some of the other
yes.
diagnoses?
Multiple sclerosis, lupus. Oh, and get this. If you are diagnosed with the opposite of what I have, which is Hashimoto's, which is hypothyroid, I'm hyper because or not anymore, but your thyroid's overproducing. You could have both at the same time.
Talk
So,
about like the universal joke, right?
yes,
You want that audience? We don't want you to have that. We don't
yeah,
want you to have it. We're literally your two elders in training, Auntie Mina and Auntie Jenny, saying to you, hey, if you're hearing this, there's a reason why.
yeah,
Really, truly. We
yes.
don't want you to join our camps. Like, she does not want, Mina does not want you
No,
to be like, oh, I have Graves' disease. And I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I got diagnosed with some type of cancer. No,
mm,
stop.
no,
This is a
I
closed
agree.
club. You're not welcome.
No, wow, amen to that. Seriously. You don't want either. And there are ways to like protect and take care of your body. The number one thing that I also want you guys to have a takeaway from is, if you have not already done this, I'm sharing. When you go for your physical, please, please ask for a full thyroid panel,
Hmm.
because it will establish a baseline of where you are. Because so many more people, Jenny, are being diagnosed. And when I got diagnosed, let me tell you what the demographics were, okay? The demographics when I got diagnosed in 2015 was women, primarily women, men get it too. And this is back in 2015, women between the ages of 45 and 55, which is the menopausal age, okay? A lot of women just said, oh, it's just menopause. It wasn't, okay? So those were the demographics then. You know what the demographics are now?
It's
It's
younger.
moved. Yes, it's far wider. Women and men between the ages of 25 to 60.
Listen,
That's
yeah, you're I'm getting chills from the stats because here's the thing also, okay? So
yes.
the rates of men getting, because you can get breast cancer in men and other types of cancer. My husband had testicular cancer, there's prostate cancers.
Hmm.
Certain levels of cancers in men are going down. However, the rate of breast cancer arriving in younger women is rising now more
Really?
then yes. So more people are surviving breast cancer. The rates are
Mm,
increasing for younger than the
mm.
average of 55. It's going. I was actually young. I was only 42 when I was diagnosed. I'm 56 now, right?
Wow.
So they were shocked. Was I, well, maybe I was 43, 44. Either way,
So
I shouldn't
young.
have gotten breast cancer. I was too young. I
Yeah.
would go for my chemo, and all the other women getting chemotherapy could have been my mother's age. And then my mother got breast cancer after me.
Oh,
So it's really interesting. And there is now a correlation, they're saying, not directly cause, but there's a
Mhm.
correlation, meaning they're kind of together in the
Yes,
stats in unresolved trauma increasing autoimmune and
yes,
cancer
yes.
rates in women because we're not asking for it to be addressed. We're not having a
No,
voice. We're not being told,
no.
you
Yeah,
know, you have a right to ask
yes,
for
absolutely.
your concerns to be met.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. That's why I had just shared, it's really important. So please, aside from the bad oils that you got to get rid of in your pantries, please, when you go for your physical, request that they do a full thyroid panel. Some doctors will push back and say, oh, you don't need that. Yes, actually, you do. And, your insurance covers that. So ask for
Should.
it
It
because
should.
it's important for you to know where your thyroid levels are, no matter where you are on the range, whether you're female or male, it doesn't matter because the demographics are shifting and you need just be aware of that. So,
Yeah, be aware of that, and also be
yeah.
aware also that if anything that we're saying right now and you're hearing it, it doesn't really resonate with you,
Mm.
just let it pass by. However, there is a reason why you're on here listening to this particular one,
Yeah,
okay? And
yeah,
pay attention to any part of your body that either feels like, oh, this is something, or resistant to it. There's a reason why. So
yes,
pay attention to that. Remember
yes.
to get Mina's gift
Oh,
down
yes.
below. Click on that to get your sneak peek, all right? And if
Yes.
you need to also feel in your body, make sure you go to danceandheal.com to download your free class with me.
Yeah,
Mina, you're gonna have to come back because we have so much more we said we
I
would talk about, and
know.
my time is up.
Okay.
My editor's gonna get mad at me because I was
Oh, okay, okay.
overboard with you, and like Mina and I have now been on the phone almost like 90 minutes with each other. Even if this particular episode does not reflect that, she's gonna have to come back for part two, okay?
Thank you so much for having me on. I just love you.
I love you
And
too.
thank you so much. This is definitely fun. I'll be back.
So be sure though that you really are in Mina's circle of influence because you're gonna turn around and she's gonna be some famous chef with her TV show, and then you're gonna be like, well, I remember that time I could have had a chance to actually connect with her personally. You can find her on Instagram. What's
Yeah.
the Instagram title again? Tell
The Graves' disease chef. It's not hard to find me. You'll see me dancing. I dance a lot. And I dance because I can now. I used to not be able to do that because of Graves' disease. So yeah, that is where you'll find me cooking and dancing.
exactly. We want you to have the attitude of gratitude. On that note, we're gonna thank you so much, Mina, for coming. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thanks, Jenny.
Love you, Mina.
I love you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?